Thank you. Thank you for coming today. I have a question for you. How many of you are sleeping? I'll try to wake you up. If you're not, that's great. Now, how many of you have a vision? What's your vision? Do you have a plan? Do you even know what you're going to do next? Welcome to Twitter in 2019. We were experiencing a lot of things that perhaps you are too. And it created a lot of confusion. So my goal today is to share with you some of the things we have done, what we've found to work, to help you. And I hope I'm going to give you some examples. So yes, we're going to say goodbye to spreadsheets and meetings, and we're going to learn how we did it, to work asynchronously. 2019, it was a wonderful year. Who has good memories of 19? I do too. I joined Twitter. I was elated. So, do you want to get rid of your spreadsheets? Have fewer meetings? All while working from home? You're in the right place. Who thinks this can be done? 50%. Well, we did. Let me show you how we did it. Here's our agenda. It's going to consist of 4 parts. First, we had a problem. How are we going to plan Twitter's 2020 strategy with Jira software and advanced roadmaps? First, we knew that we had a problem, perhaps like you do. Then we need a solution. Remember, we have a vision. We need a plan. Then you're going to build it according to your plan, like we did. Now, you need to train your teams on how to do it. I'm a Jira admin at Twitter, and I'm one of about 10 of us. So the point is, many of you may be Jira admins, maybe you're not. But whatever, you know that I'm going to come at this from like an admin side, but also relate to you on a business side. So let's see what our problem was. Planning a year's roadmaps with multiple cross-functional teams is hard. Like you, Twitter has global teams around the world, time zones, work schedules. Everybody's unique. Every team is unique. Every team has their own way of planning, like we did. We had thousands of spreadsheets, thousands of Google Docs. No, there's nothing wrong with them, but I can show you a way to put everything into Jira that simplifies everyone's life. So how do we get every team on the right and all of the on the right and the executives on the left to talk? That was the problem, because that was missing from the initial problem, which defined the problem. Simply put, Twitter was growing. Are your teams growing? Yeah, ours certainly is. Teams were using spreadsheets and slides, and they're wasting too much time. Wasting time without being able to plan 2020 strategy. Does this sound familiar? Yeah. Thought so. Where do we start? You probably have the same question. We started with Hack Week. Do you have Hack Week, your teams, your company? Okay, this is how all of this started. We had an objective. to build a tool and Twitter's 2020 strategy without spreadsheets and meetings. So we needed a solution. So during Hack Week, Brian, and that's his real name, reached out about Wednesday on the Hack Week channel saying, anybody want to help me? I said, I will. I had no idea what he wanted to do. So Brian and I met. Well, Brian was a technical program manager. He was one of these guys who was talking to a lot of cross-functional teams. And he had this problem where he had to talk to other technical program managers, whether they were sitting next to him or globally apart, and they all were planning their same things, right? In their stovepipes. But they also needed to know dependencies. And they also needed to know when those dependencies would be ready. So as I said, he managed cross-functional teams. And he plans quarterly and annual strategy with other cross-functional team managers. So that's Brian. I don't want to give you too much detail, but that's his world. Then you have me. Don't I look like that? Pretty close. Anyway, I'm a Jira systems admin. I have 8 years of Atlassian experience. And I have many years of prior program management and software quality assurance experience. So, we had a solution. Brian and I came up with this in 2.5 days. He had an idea for this, and he's going to call it a scorecard. He wants to know what everybody, or where everybody is. Don't you like to know that if you're in a game? You know, you kind of want to know if you're winning or losing or where everybody is. Right. He wanted to have this scorecard so teams can define a project. Now, that doesn't mean a Jira project necessarily, but ultimately it will be that. It will grow into a Jira project. And he wanted to identify other teams' dependencies, because they needed to accept their dependency work, like they needed to accept his. So he wanted to create the shared objective scorecard. And we want to do this quarterly and annually. Repeatability, over and over. Plan it, build it, analyze it, redo it. The scorecard will compartmentalize risk and complexity. I know I got a lot of words there, but I tried to highlight the important ones. To enable accountable drivers and cost transparency, which will result in strong alignment, loose coupling, and promoting healthy, independent teams. Delivering. Delivering is really critical. If you don't deliver, you're gone. If you deliver, you got a chance, they'll buy it. Against the company's top priorities. That's what the scorecard is to do. Here was the prototype. Using my personal Atlassian.net account, Brian and I built a series of Jira projects which had epics, and these epics related to other epics in other projects. Okay? So you can see there that this particular issue, I believe, is an epic, and it has other stories under it. And we built this kind of pseudo organization that had a project for one team, and we had a project for a second team and a third team. So these were the cross-functional teams that we wanted to solve the problem of knowing what Team B and Team C did. And it worked. And so together with Jira, Brian and I made a great team. Because without Jira, I don't see how he would have done it. Why? Because I knew Jira, and he knew what he had to do. And together, we merged our knowledge, and we built that prototype. Hack Week ended, but we didn't win yet. Then came 2020, the year everyone wants to forget. But it was a year of tremendous challenges and growth. Not sure about your company, but I know we at Twitter, especially on the Jira side, we had our issues we had to solve. And I'm going to cover a few of those. But 2020 forced everyone home. The world's closed. We're all working remotely. So now we've got to do several things. We have to clean up our in-house Jira, because it was giving us several problems. But then remote work was reality. We all had to work with Zoom or whatever meeting software you use. And we had a world of options out there. But we stuck with Jira. Why? Because Jira was embedded in the fibers of Twitter, the engineering fibers, and it was growing. It was growing to other teams, non-technical teams, human resources, marketing, sales. Everybody was getting into Jira at Twitter. But we had to take care of our business first. Before, we were running a single server, which some of us in the room here, every weekday at 10 o'clock, we'd start watching our monitors because Jira was going to potentially go down, strangled by too much use. During 2020, we upgraded from Jira 7 to Jira 8.5, and we also went to Data Center, which helped us in two ways. One, we had 4 times the processing power, and it's not just 4 times, multiple times over, because we purchased larger servers than the single server was that we had originally started with in 2019. And, sorry, that clicked ahead. We were also building roadmaps. Then it was portfolio. So if you're familiar with Jira Portfolio, you talk my language. And now it's advanced roadmaps. So I just want to set that clear. It's essentially the same product, essentially, but with enhancements. So let's look at our Jira environment. We have a data center consisting of 4 servers. We have approximately 400 projects. Now, some of those may be archived. We have about 6.5 million issues, many of which are archived. Why? Data center. One of the problems we had is we were running Jira on our single server with probably 5 to 5.5 million issues. And when you had to search, the search structure, the database structure was such that it really took time. You had to look at all those unarchived and live issues and projects that weren't archived but should have been. So, tip, go to data, archive your issues, archive your projects. We have 21 million comments. And we have roughly, we've grown a few. I'd say probably 12,000 users now. So that's our user base for Jira at Twitter. So we also had to consider safety and privacy. Okay? Back in our Hack Week, when I proposed Jira, that was when I was able to convince Brian who then convinced many other people at higher organizations in Twitter to use Jira because he saw the power of the tool. The power is the tool. The tool helps everyone work asynchronously. Okay? We're all working asynchronously, mostly from home. You don't have your teammates there watching you. You don't have your teammates there helping you, encouraging you. Everybody's online. You're working together, right? So Jira software solved our needs. That, along with Jira Portfolio, which is now advanced, enabled our teams to work asynchronously and independently. Thanks to COVID, we were all forced home. This is our work environment now. Some of us are back to the office, many are not, and that's fine. Jira works. We can establish priorities based on the goals and the timelines. Track progress and dependencies, all while keeping tweets safe with Data Center. I'm not sure how many of you have a Twitter account, but if you do, great, use it. But if you don't, that's okay. But whatever platform you use, you want to make sure your content is safe. And sometimes tweet data happens to be in issues. Well, we don't want someone else coming in and looking at someone's private tweet. Would you? No. So it met our security and privacy requirements, all while meeting the GDPR requirements. Perfect. We're global. Many of you are too. You have to abide by the GDPR rules, especially in Europe. It gave us the performance gains necessary to meet our internal demand for Jira. Remember what I told you? We had this choke point, a server and a database, using old database technology. We got rid of half our issues by archiving them, so only the live ones are searched. And Jira was built for async work. This is the way we work today. Now, I'm not sure if that's your specific environment, but I think it was mine. And on a bigger scale, we see each of us working in our rooms, whether it's our bedroom, our living room, our office, or your garage, wherever you went. But one thing that worked was Jira. That kept us connected. Because during this time, we not only had the Hack Week, we started to convince the company executives that if we built like a pyramid structure, starting with the purpose, what is Twitter's purpose? Then we can break it down into the next level. And then we can break it down into many more levels, and down, and down, and down. And you're going to see, when I show you how we used advanced roadmaps, how we did that. Hatching. Well, like Hack Week, we have a thing called a hatcher, where people put in their ideas. Let's say, I want to have a balloon that doesn't pop, but it's still flexible. You can add air, you can decrease air, something like that, right? So then what happens is we put it in a Google Doc. Anyway, we'll have to work on that. But anyway, sorry, I just thought of that. And the hatcher is where other people can see your idea and say, oh, I want to help you. I can do this. Okay, so it's hatching, right? Just like an egg. The egg comes out, then the hen has to sit on the egg. Who likes sitting on something a long time? Well, pity the poor hen. So things have to hatch. We build our model with Jira software and advanced roadmaps. It uses Agile, which enables cross-functional teams to see each other's roadmaps and plans. Perfect. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we can make the organization visible to everyone within the organization. That was a goal. Now, visualize. That's why I asked you about a vision. Do you have a vision in your company? Maybe for Jira. What does your company want you to do? Do you want Jira to do it for you? We have an expanded advanced roadmap. Now, many of you know, and I'm going to show you this in a little bit, the few limited examples that come with advanced roadmaps out of the box. So we added levels and issue types, which gave us the hierarchy and the company-wide cross-functional capability. So here comes the scorecard. We had our boards. We had our scorecard, our roadmap. And not just one, many roadmaps. Now, one thing to tell you, with advanced roadmaps comes the ability for users to view and kind of read only. That's a standard default we have for everyone. Every user at Twitter has the ability to see roadmaps, unless they're restricted by permissions for some other reason. But we limit the people who can create, edit. And so we have an approval process for that. Now, that works for us. That may not work for you. But the point is, we take some precautions so that we limit people to have write access only if they need it. So let's go back to our problem. We wanted to do this, so now we have to build it, right? Hack Week's over. Brian's working with his executives, and he's talking to the tops and the mediums and the lows and everybody, and he's selling his idea, grabbing hold. Well, then guess what? Finally, our team gets to do something. So they reach out to our team. And one specific member of our team, his name is Chris, he may be or not be in here, but if you see Chris from Twitter, thank him. He put in thousands of countless hours, and as well as Ashwin and Ruben. And these men built this thing. And then came Ray, our manager. We started hatching. So, the tool we decided on was software. We also added advanced roadmaps, which gave us the ability to visualize our plans. Data visualization is very important, because without it, if you can't visualize your data, you don't know what you're looking at. You can look at spreadsheets day after day, but you need a map, a graph, a chart, something. This was our standard issue type scheme. Before we converted all of our projects to a new standardized configuration. This is out of the box Jira. Doesn't matter if you're cloud or if you're server or data center. We added 3 issue types. Actually, we added more. One of them is the strategic initiative. So we added this several layers above the epic or the initiative in the standard advanced roadmaps hierarchy. And as you can see, it's for really high-level strategy stuff. We also have a roadmap project. Roadmap projects are sort of like what many of you might consider an initiative. Maybe. And we also have a work stream. Now, a work stream is likely to be between the strategic initiative and the roadmap project. So here's the sauce, and here's the secret. This is what you've all been waiting for. It's here. Take it. Photo it. Copy it. We just happen to use it. But thank our team who knew how to do that. Our team did it. So at the top you can see Twitter, the purpose, is the default. The goals are strategic initiatives. The strategy is the work stream. The initiative is the roadmap project. And the epic is the epic. We add issue types. They might not work for you, but they did for us. Wait, there's more. We created too many issue types for advanced roadmaps. How are we going to fit these new 3 or 4 or 5 into the 5 we have? Solution 2. We expanded the number of issue type in the hierarchy of advanced roadmaps. This is what you get out of the box with Jira Portfolio or Jira Advanced Roadmaps. How are we going to fit 8 to 10, 12 issue types into that? Like this. This is what we did. Photo it. Copy it. Common knowledge. Our team figured out how to do this. Okay? I didn't. I'm just telling you about it. I just worked with Brian in Hack Week to get this thing going. We had no idea it was going to be what it has evolved into. So now we have these different levels, these different breadths across as well as up and down. The next thing we did was standardize our project configurations. For example, this is our standard project issue type scheme. We have all the tools, all the issue types in there that's needed for a standard project. A roadmap project, okay, right. And under that, then, are epics. And using the parent link function in advanced roadmaps, we're able to link to the next higher level. And then from the roadmap project, it can go up to the work stream. And from there, it can go up to the strategic initiative. So everything's linked. This is our common workflow scheme. Okay? We have a roadmap project workflow. We have an epic workflow. And we have our standard issue type workflow. Continuing. We have 3 basic screen types. Okay? Every project is built with these configs. And here's our typical field scheme, or field configuration scheme. Okay? We have specific standardized fields for standardized screens, for workflows, for issue types, for projects. Now, we do have some one-offs. Someone wants something done. They create a ticket, our team works on it. So this is what probably your standard issues look like now. Obviously, I'm not going to give you anything secret, but Jira issue, right? Okay. For example, this is our roadmap project workflow. Okay? It's just things we do. Okay. You'll build your own. But keep in mind that a roadmap project is a business tool, but it's also a Jira tracking tool. It's a project management tool. If you use initiatives, you get the idea. And this is a sample plan. So we standardized our plans. That if you want to build a plan, start with these. See if you like them. If not, be adventurous. Maybe you don't want to just track stories and tasks. Maybe you want to track strategic initiative to epics. And that's okay. Do it. The next ingredient that we found very helpful was to automate our project configurations. We took advantage of Script Runner and its scripting capabilities. And thanks to our leader, Ray, who taught all of us how to create scripts, we're now in the script creating business. We have many, many, many scripts. And then we automated it. Once we built it, we automated it. So these things are updated constantly. Now, one of the things I haven't shown you or told you is that for each issue, we have a hierarchy in the chain of, let's say, managers. For every issue that I'm assigned, it has my manager, Ray, his manager, their manager, their manager. And we, our team, wrote the scripts to read our user base and update that on a regular basis. Not every time an issue's changed, too much work. But at least weekly, downtime, we do it then. We got this. Now deploy it. We changed over 1,000 project configs in one weekend. We could not have done it without Script Runner, and we could not have done it without automation from Jira. Now, your site may be smaller. That's fine, great. But I will tell you there are advantages to this. Make a schedule, run it, regular, weekly configuration updates. The last item, create your content in Confluence. Why? Jira and Confluence are made to work together asynchronously. For every project, we create a knowledge base in Confluence, a space. We do. Maybe you do too. Well, what's in there? Documentation. Look at this. We tell our users how to create an advanced roadmap plan. Step-by-step guide. Secret about that. Just do it, right? And for example, we called our process EPT. You can call it what you want. We have sample JQL filters for different roles. I cannot tell you how many support tips we've saved by creating this documentation. If a user wants to know something about roadmaps or how to build one and how to report them, go look in Confluence. 2021, yay. We got through the worst of COVID, although there was a lot to come yet. But through COVID and scaling Jira and advanced roadmaps with Script Runner and automation for Jira, we were able to launch our unified project tracking system. Why? Because it's accessible and it's equitable. Anybody at Twitter who has the permissions can see every other issue, any issue, in our Jira and our hierarchy in our roadmaps. Asynchronous, I've been talking about that during this session. Async is here. And purpose-driven. We know what we're working on in the service of our strategy. Vision. We have a vision. We have a plan. We know how to get to where we're going. We shipped it. Train your teams. Without training, you're sunk. Without user buy-in, you're sunk. I know it. We would have been. But our team built training. That training that's like up there. Part of it is the documentation in Confluence. Part of it is training for users. For example, I've got Jira. It's a Jira 101 class. Because we have many people coming into our team, our company, who have no idea what Jira is. None. So we want to build a common framework for which to talk about it, because they are going to be using Jira from the moment they step in the door. Because whether they know it or not, before they come in the door, or remotely come in the door, their Jira user ID has been created, and there are many tickets assigned to managers about that user. Advanced JQL, again, hundreds of tickets saved. It talks about searching and reporting, about dashboards, roadmap plans, Scrum and Kanban boards, and how to search for issues in roadmap projects. Now, that is a key. And you would not believe the complex JQL our team has had to use to solve some people's infinitesimal desire to get these specific issues out of a whole universe of issues. And it took, JQL that long and longer to do it. So a Twitter team's planning your strategy with Jira and advanced roadmaps, without spreadsheets and without meetings. So what's the benefit? Planning's made easy. You heard me talk about the problems we had before. Everyone was stovepipe. Nobody knew what anybody was doing. Now we do. If you want to know where somebody's at, go look at our roadmap. Gets rid of the confusion. We all have plenty of confusion in our life today. We don't need any more. And we reduce the number of meetings. Now, some people may argue that point, but the asynchronous capability of Jira and Confluence enables you to reduce meetings. Give it a try. You'll find how much time you've got left. So what are our 5 solutions? 1, start with Jira software and advanced roadmaps. Expand the roadmap hierarchies. Standardize your project configs, automate changes for project configs, create content in Confluence. So let's review. Where were we? Oh, yeah, we were in 2019. I was a new tweep. I loved my job. I still do. I love Twitter. We had Hack Week. That's where this whole concept started. Brian gave a presentation. Then it started to hatch. 2020 came. COVID, lockdowns. We upgraded Jira. We then went to data center. 2021 came. We started testing and training of our structure, our unified project structure. We did it. We got the check mark at the end of the road. We had a vision. We followed our vision. We built it. And we finally won. Twitter did. But more than that, we won last year's Best in Class Technical Award. So, there was teams this year. Congratulations if you're on a team. I know what it feels like. We won. Thank you, Atlassian. Now, I'm not quite done yet, but you can come up. From all of us, the Twitter Avengers. We were given that name. And there's the team. They did it. You see one of these folks, talk to them. I'm just a talker. If you were in Tiffany and Justine's, or I'm sorry, the other guy, the talker. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you about, if you were at the session yesterday afternoon on DevOps with Justine and Tiffany, when I was watching it, I thought, they stole my content. Because a lot of what I said applies to what they said. Here's your takeaways. This is what you go home with. Worry. Software and roadmaps. Configs, get buy-in with users. You want to do this? Guess what? Atlassian's already documented how to do it on their site. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good afternoon.